Hey, I thought I'd do a series of videos on excuses that people make to not be healthy, to not be fit, to not attempt to do anything out of their comfort zone. As a matter of fact, to live an entire life where they've never been healthy for one single day. And they could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and having lived their entire life and never experienced being healthy ever. It's an awful thought, because God designed our bodies with the ability to do things like joints for arms and legs to move. So that one of the biggest excuses is, and it's one of the worst, because it makes you completely irresponsible for your condition that you're actually completely responsible for, and that is genetics. Some people have better genetics than others, and I guess I just don't have I just don't have good genetics. Well, Vic Voyachik was born with no arms and no legs. Does he have bad genetics? Yet he climbs and swims better than every single person on earth that's blaming their genetics for not having tried doing anything. He's very fit. He married a beautiful wife and has beautiful kids. I mean, his wife is like amazing. She's like a model, like a beautiful beauty and fitness model. And he probably makes more money than mostly anybody that has the excuses. So genetics is not an excuse for anyone when we're talking about things like health and fitness, that as long as you're alive, you still have the ability to greatly improve, especially if you've never been fit one day in your entire life, if you've never been healthy one day in your entire life. And by the way, health and fitness can be measured by actual physical demonstrative tests. That means tests that you could demonstrate. The military has these, are very simple. You run a distance under a certain time, you do certain activities. Typically it's run 1.5 miles under a certain time, run 3 miles under a certain time, do a certain number of sit-ups and a certain number of push-ups. If you have your arms and legs, you could do those. Those could be tested for people that don't have arms and legs as well. It doesn't matter. Genetics is not an excuse. It's the worst. It's ridiculous. It's so awful, especially for men, to use that excuse of why they're not strong, why they're not able to defend themselves, defend their neighbor, defend their wives, defend their family, why they're not able to lift their own body weight against gravity. If you can't literally carry your own weight, it's not a virtue. It's not a virtue to go and boast and brag and stick out your stomach and show that it's bigger than other men and have like a big belly contest and brag about how weak you are and then say, well, I just guess I have bad genetics. In the meantime, service to mankind, service to your community, service to your employer, service to your family, to yourself and to God requires you to be able to lift your own weight. Lifting your own weight would be a very minimal thing. And you could start by simply walking. Yes, just taking a walk. Taking a walk outdoors would be a good start if you're currently only sitting. And you'll know if you're only a sitter if you've never been fit for one single day in your entire life, meaning you've never been able to run 5 miles continuously, even if you had a full hour to do it, or you've never been able to lift your own weight, not even once. These are just really simple standards of health and fitness. Health and fitness are the same thing. Genetics is not an excuse. It never is. It's not an excuse for anybody. Genetics is the worst, or definitely one of the worst excuses. It's for people who are lazy. It's not excusable. It's not an excuse. It's not a rational, it's not a excuse that gives you a pass. It doesn't give you a pass.